Number 10. Sucked into a whirlpool. Daredevil photographer Jacob Cockle gained online fame by uploading videos of his dangerous underwater exploits. But Jacob finally filmed his last video when he got sucked into a deadly whirlpool that he was trying to capture on film. A whirlpool is a body of rotating water produced by opposing currents or a current running into something else. You've probably seen smaller whirlpools can form when a sink or a bath is draining, but they can be extremely dangerous, especially the larger and more powerful ones in the seas or oceans, or in this case, the one Jacob swam into in the middle of the River Hale in Cornwall while wearing a plastic horse head. The horse head was meant to be a comedic prop that would be included in Jacob's video, but unfortunately, he didn't take the danger of the whirlpool seriously. The particular whirlpool is caused by underground tunnels that funnel sand out of the harbor. The churning water creates an intense whirlpool that nobody should ever try swimming into, and yet Jacob thought he could swim through the whirlpool and film the whole thing. By the time Jacob emerged at the other end of the whirlpool, he was dead. And let this be a lesson to everyone, never jump into a whirlpool. Number 9. The Boiling Lake. In the Mont Trois Petits National Park, about 6.5 miles or 10.5 kilometers east of Rossau, Dominica, there is a boiling lake. The lake is about 200 to 250 feet or 60 to 76 meters across and fluctuates in depth, going from very deep to bone dry. When there's water in it, it's almost always boiling and enveloped in a cloud of dangerous vapor. The lake is sitting at the bottom of a sinkhole, a flooded fumarole that is an opening into the very crust of the earth. It's also connected to a nearby volcano, with steams and gas being emitted through the sinkhole from a cave of molten lava below. What this means is that when the sinkhole is filled with water, it becomes a boiling lake that emits toxic gas emissions. Basically, swimming inside Dominica's boiling lake could literally boil you alive, kind of like throwing a lobster into a pot of boiling water. It's been estimated that only 2 people have lost their lives at the boiling lake, and they hadn't even been swimming in it. They lost their lives because of the gas emissions leaking out of the lake. To jump into the water and splash around would be an invitation to death. It would be like swimming inside the mouth of an active volcano. It's kind of a no-brainer that one should never attempt to swim here. Number 8. The Nile River. Once upon a time, the Nile River in Egypt was populated by hungry crocodiles. In the days of the ancient Egyptians, swimming in the Nile River was a death sentence, because there were so many of these vicious reptiles, and they were totally unafraid of eating anyone who dared come into their territory alive. When the Aswan High Dam was constructed in 1960, most of the crocodiles were displaced into a man-made lake. But that doesn't mean there aren't a few stragglers waiting at the shores of the Nile to take a bite out of unwary swimming tourists. Swimming in the Nile River is 1000% not recommended. But even if you don't get eaten by a crocodile, the Nile is known for giving people a disgusting skin infection known as schistosomiasis. The infection happens when skin comes into contact with unclean water. Even just sticking your toes into the Nile is enough to infect your feet. Symptoms of this horrible infection usually include itchy skin and a rash, along with a feeling of general sickness. It's not enough to kill a person, but it can spread across your whole body, making you itchy and giving you super uncomfortable symptoms like nausea and diarrhea until it finally goes away. It may seem like a fun idea to swim in the Nile River on your next trip to Egypt, but just don't do it. If you don't get eaten alive, you'll probably get a rash, or maybe even attacked by a water mummy. Who knows? Number 7. Hanakapiai Beach. Hanakapiai Beach, nestled in Hawaii's Na Pali coast, is one of the most beautiful yet dangerous beaches to swim in the entire world. It's a remote beach with no road access, and just the trail alone to get here will take you a couple of hours. The word Hanakapiai translates to English as base sprinkling food. Does that sound like a pleasant place to go? It's the geography of the beach that really makes it so hazardous. The rip current here is one of the strongest ever. If you were to get caught in the riptide, you would most likely never be found. According to an official sign posted at the beach, there have been at least 83 drownings, last counted in 2008, with 15 of the victims' bodies never even being recovered. What's really scary about Hanakapiai Beach is that even just going into the water up to your knees can prove fatal. If you absolutely must get in the water, do so in the small, calmer pools in the Hanakapiai stream. The water is usually slow-moving and clear, but sometimes a bit cold. If the water is murkier though, then that is a sign of flooding and you should stay out of the river. Flash floods happen without any notice, making the beach even more treacherous. One second you're standing with the waves lapping your legs, the next, you're 6 miles or 9.6 kilometers out at sea, with no way back. Do you think you'd risk it for the biscuit and check out this beach? Let me know in the comments below, and if you're liking this video, hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. Number 6, the Blue Hole. There is a place located in the Red Sea known as the Blue Hole, and it has been labeled as one of the most perilous diving spots in the world, even for the most experienced divers. The recent death of professional diver Stephen Keenan proves just how fearsome this place is. Stephen was a 39-year-old diver from Dublin who drowned while trying to save another freediver, who was, at the time, attempting to cross what is locally known as the Arch of the Red Sea's dangerous Blue Hole in a single breath. This is one of the deadliest places to be swimming in the Red Sea, and the diver became disoriented. Stephen rushed to guide her to the surface, but he blacked out. The girl he'd been trying to save made it out of the water, but Stephen was found floating face down a fair distance away. But what is the Red Sea's Blue Hole? It's a sinkhole that goes down about 300 feet or 91 meters in the middle of the Red Sea, and is nicknamed by local divers as the Diver's Cemetery. But despite its horrible reputation, thousands of people flock every year to swim in the Blue Hole. Some of them, unfortunately, never make it out alive. Those who are able to descend 328 feet or 100 meters below come face to face with a 160-foot or 50-meter high opening to the Red Sea. It has been described as beautiful, and many state there is nothing else like it on the planet. It's like standing in an underwater cathedral. It may be beautiful, but the deadly consequences probably outweigh the views. Number 5, Lake Karachay. Lake Karachay in the Ural Mountains of Russia is considered to be the most polluted lake in the entire world, and the last place you ever want to go swimming. Between 1951 and 1953, it was used as a dumping site for Chelyabinsk-65, a nuclear waste storage plant. Basically, the lake is filled with radioactive garbage. The level of radioactivity here has been measured at 4.44 terabecquerels, which is pretty similar to the radioactive level found around Chernobyl after the disaster when the nuclear power plant had a meltdown. But how dangerous is it to swim in the most polluted lake in the world? According to the Natural Resources Defense Council, it is so dangerous that a human can die within 1 hour of swimming in the lake because of all of the pollutants. But Lake Karachay is even dangerous to people that are nowhere near it. In the 1960s, a drought and strong winds carried radioactive dust from the lake and irradiated roughly 500,000 people in nearby settlements, with similar levels as those near Hiroshima after the atomic bomb was dropped. After this disaster, the lake was filled with over 10,000 concrete blocks to keep the sediment from blowing away. But the lake is still toxic, and honestly, you probably shouldn't go anywhere near it. Number 4, the Hoover Dam. The Hoover Dam is not a place you want to go swimming. First of all, it's deadly. A brief dip in the Hoover Dam can get you sucked into one of the 10 turbines operating underneath the water. It's also super illegal. When Aaron Hughes, a British man on vacation in Vegas, went down to the Colorado River at the Hoover Dam, he was drunk and thought it would be a good idea to swim across the reservoir. He has since been given the title of the first person to ever survive swimming across the Hoover Dam reservoir, which borders Arizona and Nevada. When he got out of the water, he was immediately arrested and given a fine of $330. The only reason he survived the journey is that 9 of the turbines were not in operation. Otherwise, he would have gotten sucked under the water and turned into shredded cheese. According to The Guardian, 275 people have died in the last 10 years trying to swim the Hoover Dam, with none of them managing to cross its breadth. Number 3, the Ganges River. The Ganges River is the lifeline of India. Thousands of people swim in the Ganges River every day. People bathe in it, they wash their faces, they dump their cremated corpses, they dump their garbage. The Ganges River is filled with a range of pollutants, from sewage to industrial waste to the remains of bodies. And yet, this river is considered a holy place in India. Nobody has any problems with swimming in it, except, of course, for people who aren't from India. Some locals even drink this water on a daily basis. But here are the facts. According to the BBC, 300 million liters of domestic waste are dumped into the Ganges every single day. The city of Varanasi itself dumps the sewage of 1 million people into the waters. The level of fecal bacteria in the Ganges is 440 times the recommended maximum level for swimming in the United States. That means, by US standards, there is 440 times the maximum accepted level of poop bacteria in the Ganges. A British bacteriologist named Ernest Hanbury Henkin that was working in India reported in 1896 that the waters of the Ganges have an antibacterial action against cholera, and was later ascribed to be the bacteria-eating virus bacteriophage. Dr. Gopal Nath, a scientist at Banaras Hindu University, says that kids are affected the worst by bacterial infections during their first year of swimming in the river. And once bacteriophages are present in their intestine, he says, this gives them a natural immunity. Natural immunity or not, even though the locals swim and drink and party in the river, they're doing so in a variable swamp of feces. Number 2. Queensland. Queensland, Australia is one of the most dangerous places to go swimming, hands down. The waters off the coast of Queensland are filled with some of the most venomous sea creatures in the world. In 2021, a 17-year-old was killed while swimming at Patterson Point by the most venomous of all marine animals on the planet, the deadly box jellyfish. The boy was airlifted to Townsville Hospital and put into the intensive care unit, where he was then intubated for a full week before finally passing away. Since his death, local police and health officials have warned people swimming in the area to pay close attention. Without a protective suit, the stingers of the box jellyfish can easily kill someone. At least 70 people have died in Australia since the 1880s from coming into contact with a box jellyfish. And this is only one of the many poisonous animals lurking off the coast, with other things like blue-ringed octopuses just waiting to strike careless swimmers. Number 1. Rio Tinto. Rio Tinto translates into English as Red River. It's one of the most dangerous rivers to go swimming in anywhere across the world. But the reason for its lethality is actually quite fascinating. The river runs through the southwest of Spain, where for over 5,000 years, precious minerals such as copper and gold have been mined. Some scientists refer to Rio Tinto as the birthplace of both the Copper Age and the Bronze Age, and the river has been stained by all the mining activity. Rio Tinto was mined by the Iberians, Phoenicians, Greeks, Romans, and even Visigoths. After mining operations by the United Kingdom in the 19th century, Rio Tinto became so highly acidic that nobody should ever venture into the waters. To give you an example of just how acidic Rio Tinto is, the bacteria in the water has created a condition similar to what you might find on Jupiter's moon Europa. Some experts even say that the presence of bacteria in Rio Tinto and its similarity to what the surface of Europa may look like is evidence of possible life on Jupiter's moon. Thanks for watching. Would you dare swim in any of these places? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing videos. See you next time. Bye-bye.